Welcome to the Inferno 101 by Glitch. I basically kind of want to talk about a couple of things. Firstly, I want to talk about what's kind of the most important, I think, with Inferno is that it's very easy to use your utility and take a lot of damage early round. So you can throw down nades banana, you can throw down nades mid, to kind of get that early damage without even seeing your opponent. Another thing to kind of mention is that you shouldn't just waste your utility, so wait for you hear sound cues to use your utility and don't just throw it straight away, wait for people to smoke and then throw a molly to kind of hold them off, like use your utility right. The reason why is because with Inferno is an easy map to kind of just rush, and if you don't have full control, it's easy to just flash through and rush one person that's, say for example, play long and kind of get that aggression, and there's not much you can do to hold them back. Another important thing on Inferno is kind of having angles, or holding angles, and holding crossfires with your teammates. It's always important that you kind of think about this in your head and having these crossfires in mind. Another thing I want to talk about is kind of going as pairs. So being able to trade frag for your teammate. So if someone wants to take an early aggression peek in banana, the second person should be able to trade frag if the first person dies. That is also similar to all the other places on Inferno. For example, if you play apps or play second mid, you should always go as pairs basically to be able to do that trade frag. And that's basically the three things I want to cover. So one, use your utility right. Don't use them straight away, just use them wisely. Having crossfires is important on this map, and also going as pairs and doing trade frags. So the first strat I want to talk about is a B Execute. For a B Execute, it's important to take car control, so they can't just peek car. You might want to nade corner, as people sit there with an AWP as well. Once you've done that, you most likely want to molly sandbox as well, just because it's a common angle to play, especially if there's two banana. Then after you have the control, you can then smoke CT, you can smoke coffin or construction area, you use the flash, or I call it the god flash, to flash everyone. You can then decide to molly first orange, second orange, dark, or new box. Then you push in. So once you throw that flash, that basically means that everyone should be ready to push in, or at least two, to be able to trade frag with each other. For a B split execute, you then want to molly up cars, so you basically take banana control. And then two people are going up mid, so you flash top mid to get away the AWPer or an early peek, smoke library, and smoke short. Then you want to most likely have a flash behind you to beat the guy along, and then you can decide if you want to molly off cubby and then push through to B. Just be aware of CT, some people might play in library here and hold that rotation. So yeah, you molly car, you molly sandbox, and then get that banana control, and then you smoke the same smokes as with the B strat. So CT, coffin, use the flash when you're ready to push in, and then basically use the utility you have, and then you can push in. That smoke failed on front there, but you get what I mean. Alternatively, you can also throw like a lurk smoke, so you can't be seen from coffin, and then push around it. Either push around, or you can jump up on first orange and then try and get that kill that way. For an A execute, what you want to do is flash up mid to get that early aggression away. You then have people going second mid, which then mollies apps. You then smoke long. You smoke moto. And then you clear on the bulk, on the roof. You can decide if you want to molly or not. And you can molly apps, depending if someone wants to play apps on our team. And then molly pit. So the only place they can be is site or mini pit or grave. For an A alternative, you can smoke off long, smoke off pit, and then you can smoke off moto. Basically, that creates a big wall between everything. You pre-fire here, and then you molly balcony. So you can't be balcony and look down. And then basically you can plant on site. You can't be seen from small pit. You can't be seen from long or pit. So basically you can plant on site, or basically check site and plant on site, and then fall back. So I want to talk about kind of like the B setup. So a defensive way of setting up on B is one playing CT and holding the angle, and then or playing on boost like flower pot. The second guy should then play first orange, then listen for steps in banana. Or the person can then play, for example, play corner on new box or behind new box. If you want to have a more defensive, you can then play in dark. Then the second guy should play site, like closer to first orange, to then listen for sound cues, and then, or if the person want to play coffin. The reason why you always want someone close is that you can hear steps in banana and use your utility right. You can also stand on the boost if you want to. For a B aggressive setup, you then want to flash over roof, use a pop flash to blind people on banana. You can also molly close banana as well, and then peek to try and get that early pick. You can peek behind car, or you can peek behind second or half wall there. The second person should be ready to have a molly or a smoke to kind of help your teammate out. You can also sit like behind sandbox there as well, but basically be able to help that aggression peak to get out and still be in a man advantage. You can also have like a bit more passive, like hold a corner here that I tried to show through the smoke. For CTA setup, for an aggressive setup, you can basically flash early mid and then take a peek with an AWP to see if you can get that damage. Or throw a nade down mid. If you're feeling a bit more dangerous, you can throw a smoke down mid, deep mid, and then hold the second mid push. You can then also check apps, like the people pushing there. For another aggressive peek for the guy playing long is that someone flash him over roof, and then you take the window peek. For the person playing short, basically what you want to do is that you either play behind the closer wall here or close to that pillar and hold mid or boiler. And then if you want to, you can get a boost up on short here to be on the roof, and then hold this angle instead. For the guy playing apps, he can either hold apps up here, or if he feels like he can push down and try and get that early pick for the people pushing up in T apps. For an A defensive setup, it's very similar, so the guy playing long usually just play long and hold across for mid. If the T's decide to smoke off short and going long, you should most likely play this angle to hold them off and then be able to fall back to side if needed. The guy playing short plays the same as a normal, like an aggressive setup, but he holds boiler or mid. And the guy playing apps can either play on, he can play on balcony, or he can play in apps, depending on what he feels like, to hold a different angle, like a more passive angle. And he can also play pit, hold a headshot angle. Or he can play default box, or turret box as I call it. So you can hold like a more passive setup on A, or holding apps.